This is question time. Khotso, and welcome to all of you. We're coming to you live from Nasrec. The National Policy Conference of the ANC has just wrapped up, and indeed we're also wrapping up. But today, radio joins hands with television. My co-host today is SK, Sakina Kamwendo. You know her from SAFM. She's the host there of AM Live and the After 8 debate. So today she joins me, and we are going to grill the president of the MKMVA, Kebi Mapatswe, after 5 days plus of grueling sessions of deliberations and all that. Today it has come to an end. President Jacob Zuma delivered his closing remarks a while ago. And this is question time. And we'll be taking your calls as usual. You can call us live. We'll be able to take your calls. You can also follow us on Twitter. Please send those questions at Mpo Tsedu. That's the Twitter handle you can use. I'll be able to access that. But you can also use SK's Twitter handle. She'll give it to you. SK, radio joins hands with television today, and I must confess to our viewers that we hijacked you.
I'm glad you put it out there.
Yep.
But it's a fantastic opportunity, and I think at the end of a great week of deliberation, it's a good opportunity to actually just, do a post-mortem of what happened here.
But SK, I'll be honest with you, I was very pessimistic about this. Welcome to Question Time. I thought it was going to be a waste of time. I thought comrades are going to be fighting. They're going to be fighting over terminologies. Well, at least I was right there on that one. But I had expected a more disorganized type of a situation than what I saw.
Look, the ANC, from its inception, it believes in comradeship, in persuading each other. That is why when you go to any conference or before you agree, there are different views. And that's why as comrades, we go and persuade each other. And that's why we develop in the ANC, because we don't behave like other parties where it's one-man voice. So in the ANC, you come with different views, we discuss and persuade each other. Once we agree, the other one will say, I now understand better what does this thing mean.
But are you able to arrive at real qualitative outcomes in a gathering this large?
Yes, the ANC is it's very big. It has got branches. It's no more like your Morogoro where you'll have few people. Now that it has got basic units that are representing people there in their branches. You will have quality members here because there are political schools of the ANC and people are attending political education schools, and it's also a school, a policy conference, because they have left here with more understanding what do we mean by colonialism of special type, white monopoly capital or monopoly capital, expropriation of land without compensation, and so on. So branches, they've gone out here with more understanding of what do we mean by the strategy and tactics and organizational renewal.
Well, would you say that today's, when we woke up today, there was this story about Joel Nechdenje having to be, held before a disciplinary hearing. He must withdraw, he must apologize, and all those things. Why is it so important that the ANC leaves Nasrec having acknowledged the existence of white monopoly capital?
You see, the problem is that it's a pity that some of our leaders, they are captured by these big white business people. And there's nothing wrong to do business. And we encourage our people to get involved in business. But you must not do that at the expense of the organization, the African National Congress. Our people are suffering, and they're expecting us as the ANC to implement policies that will make them sure that we deal with poverty, we deal with unemployment, and we close this gap or eradicate this thing of inequalities.
Okay. But Escape, before you go in, let's just take, I'm told there's a caller here. Itmeleng, you're in Pretoria. Welcome.
Thank you, Mpo. Yes, Mpo, I want to talk about colonization, resources, what else? Yeah, I want to give 4 examples of 4 countries: Switzerland, Canada, Ethiopia, and which is the fourth one? Sudan, Canada, Ethiopia. Help me out, Mpo. Okay, Indonesia. Yeah? Switzerland, it does not have any natural resources. It does not have gold, it does not have oil, it does not have any natural resources that itself. But it is one of the powerful economies in the world. Yeah? We have Canada. Canadians, they are not landowners, they are landholders. Most of the land belongs to the Queen. But they are doing very good. Canada is one of the most powerful economies in the world. Ethiopia was never colonized. There was never colonization in Ethiopia, but Ethiopia was doing very bad. It was doing very bad. It is just started to grow in economy.
I need to get your point. What is your point?
My point is, why are we busy concentrating on colonization and resources belong to this one and resources don't belong to that one? All of these four countries, they've got one thing in common. They work hard, and there's not endemic corruption in them. If South Africans, they learn to work hard and not rely on corruption to grow this country, I'm sure we can grow this economy like those countries. I'm sure we can grow this economy like those countries.
Okay, thanks very much. SK, let me allow you to chip in there.
Indeed, but just going back to what Ndate Mapatu was saying earlier, about messages being distorted, and it was something that also came out in the Communication and the Battle of Ideas Commission. But in that regard, from the answer that you gave, that's one way of looking at it. Is the other way of looking at it not that it's the caliber, the quality of cadre who is debating the matter is of such a poor quality that whoever is the scribe and the rapporteur either leaves there not knowing exactly what was agreed upon, or simply is able to force their view on what commission ultimately decided? Is that a factor?
You see, the problem is that we must not be afraid to speak about factionalism, and in a way that when we come to discussions, we even stoop so low in factionalizing the discussion documents. It's like we are from different organizations. We are one ANC, and when we say we must improve the lives of our people, and improving the lives of our people mean we have to change the way we do things. We have to change policies. If we say it has been for a long time that we have been allowing the economy of our country being in the hands of the whites for so many years, and then we shy away that no, there's nothing like that, because in the world it is called monopoly capital. Whereas you are losing the context of South Africa, that we were colonized and the economy of our country is still in the hands of the few, which are the whites and male. So you can't run away from that. But unfortunately, that our comrades, whom we respect a lot, like Comrade Joel Netitsenze and the others, Joel Netitsenze, I respect him a lot, especially in strategy and tactics. He's an intellectual, he's a guru in the ANC. But this time around, I think he missed it, because some of the comrades, as I said, they've got other interests now. Now they put the interests of the people secondary. Now the young people are impatient, and our people are saying we want change, and we can't pretend as if it is business as usual. We are here to make sure that we change the lives of our people.
Now, let's look at, going home now after all these days. Do you support the call for these two deputy presidents and these two deputy secretary generals as the MKMVA?
Look, as MKMVA, we resolved at our conference that we will support the two deputy secretaries. We came here with that position that we will support it. Well, the president, my understanding is that the president is leaving at the end of the year. And no one who is a leader would want to leave an organization that is divided. You'd want to live with an organization that is solid. Now the president is saying, here is my proposal, that let us not allow the winner takes all. Let us reach a compromise, and a compromise might be having the two deputy presidents. And that is the way that I think we must take it to the branches, test it in the branches, whether the branches are going to agree or not. But it's trying to deal with the issue of the slates. that maybe if you have two deputy presidents, the others might say, okay, you from that other side come and be the first deputy president. From the other side, come be the second deputy president. The other side come be the second deputy secretary or the first deputy secretary. He is trying to say, let us be open to each other, because in nowadays in the ANC, once we disagree, I can't sit with you like this anymore. I go to my own trenches and entrench myself there as if I'm discussing with a DA member. So what we learned in politics is persuasion. And we must stick together and eat together, celebrate together, go to events together, attend our funerals together. In nowadays, we factionalize even funerals.
But one might ask, so what has brought about the sudden change of heart? Because if we are being honest, and going back to your own message coming from your own commissions here, the credibility of any message depends on the credibility of the messenger. So I put it to you that the president was being opportunistic. Why didn't the president drive this line from the first time that he came into office, bearing in mind, of course, we all know what happened in Polokwane. The president himself lands in this position as a result of factionalism. Some might argue you yourself are in the position you are as a result of factionalism. Why now? What has changed in the water in the ANC?
You know, I'm part of the National Executive Committee of the ANC. And most of the time when the president makes his own inputs, political input, he always speaks about unity. And he always gives example of the 2007, that we made mistakes. And we can't allow that thing to repeat itself again. So the president has been preaching that, but he can't take over the powers of the branches. That the branches are the ones that nominate, and we have got a national executive that is very big. We have got provinces that have got their own views. Unfortunately, our comrades, as I'm saying, have been afraid to engage each other. The issue is because of the resources.
The issue is because actions speak louder than words. That is the issue. You can talk about unity all you like, but what is your actual behavior? Are you displaying unifying behavior as the leadership? I mean, as recently as your own situation with MKMVA and the stalwarts, it's factionalist to the core.
No, I don't agree with you, Sakina. People must learn to respect the democracy, and people must respect the constitutional structures. Our own comrades, we are not the one who push them away. They are the ones who organize a parallel meeting, and they've said to us they're not an organization, they're not parallel to us, but they have got issues around, one, the welfare of MK members. And we said when we met with them, we agree with you, let us go to the conference. Our conference was supposed to be in October. They said, no, it's too far. Let's have it in April. We said, no, if April is very soon, we're going to the policy conference. Why we don't prepare to the policy conference? But they said, no, that's precisely, we want when you go to the policy conference, we must go with the new leadership. We then said, okay, it's fine. Let's go to the conference. They pushed us to the conference. Unfortunately, they did not want to compromise.
Okay, hold it there. Let's take Saki. Saki, you are in Cape Town. Welcome.
Mpho asisaki ke paki
we ntatwaka tshwarelo wa tseba ke utlwa molaetse o romelwang ka tsebeng ka mona ke a gola motho a utlwa hantle o tlwa Auckland Park kwana ntate paki.
Yeah, and I'm surprised that SK is not even bothering to correct you because, you know, SK, I'm so disappointed at you. But anyway, Mpho, greetings to you and, of course, like to our president, Mr. Mapazwe. And, of course, to you too, SK. Mpho, this conference is actually one of the most successful ones. I know that many people were actually looking at it, Kamasho are red, thinking that there's actually going to be missiles being shot from one side to the other and the like and so forth. But however, going straight to the point in that, Mpho, you asked a very important question earlier on about what do we think the proposal of the president of the African National Congress, Ubaba Zuma, with regard to the two deputy presidents is actually going to be going to be accepted or not? But then another thing is, to what extent do we see this gaining a momentum leading up to December? That's actually one question. The second question, lastly, I know that we're busy, is around the two candidates who are likely to be elected to the that for the presidentialship, Umamu Zuma and then Ubaba Ramaphosa. Are we now seeing that is now the our people, that is now the followership being assured that, you know what, it is okay to support a certain candidate, but then it is likely that one candidate might win over the other? How do we see this? How do we see that is now the branches accepting this? Thank you very much for taking my call, Mpho.
Thanks very much. And by the way, word around the media center here is the Nkosazana camp has realized they are losing ground. They want to make sure that she is in the presidency by hook or crook. This is also the view of Northern Cape.
No, I don't think it's a true reflection of what happened in the conference here. What happened here was about the policies of the African National Congress. And we emerged here very strong and united. Let's wait and see what will happen after this policy conference. Factions are going to go back to their own factions and to their own caucuses. They'll go and discuss. But the president is trying to give guidance to say, as you go to your own factions, make sure that you put the ANC first, that the ANC must be united, so that when you go to 2019, we go as a united force.
Is that?
I don't know. I think sometimes we oversimplify very complicated matters. And also just bearing in mind that these are but proposals. They are still going to go back to the branches for further deliberation, and the ratification will only happen in December. So, at this point, it really isn't anything tangible to write home about.
Gift, you are in Olifantsfontein. Welcome.
Welcome, Mbo. How are you?
I'm well. Thanks for the call.
As much as possible. Good evening, Mbo, and your panelists. How are you? Good evening, Mbo, and your panelists. How are you?
We are well. Thanks for the call.
For my line, it's so bad. I don't know if you can hear me clearly that side, but I will try my level best and just put my view on the table.
Go ahead.
Okay, Mpo, thank you very much, Mpo. I've got two issues, Mpo, that I think we need to just open up the African National Congress's eyes and ears. Maybe they can listen to people. What happened last year on the local government elections? It will happen again if ANC don't want to listen and correct and do things right or do things differently. They need to listen to the masses on the ground, because are the ones that are voting. I didn't vote because of my personal
and just allow the program to go ahead here. Now, perhaps let me just get to something in Tatimapatu. Do you get the feeling that this outcry out there that President Zuma is the problem within the ANC is factual, and the Guptas are a problem for the ANC?
It is not true, Mpo. This was a man-created thing to make sure that you discredit President Jacob Zuma, because there are people who want a regime change here in South Africa through undemocratic processes. I can give you an example. Why we lost Nelson Mandela. We changed 4 mayors as the ANC before their term ends. And it was because of factionalism in the region. And the officials of the ANC, led by President Jacob Zuma, went to the Eastern Cape because the PC failed to correct that thing. And they were told that you will lose this municipality in the manner that you are fighting. Jacob Zuma was nowhere there. And we lost that municipality. Coming to Tshwane here again, the PEC of Gauteng knew that Mapite and Sputa are fighting. Instead of intervening and correcting the situation, they left it to 11th hour. They brought the new candidate, Togo Titiza, innocently. There was fire in Tshwane. And how do you expect to win the elections in a week's time or 2 weeks' time when there was violence? And people of Tshwane said, okay, we will vote for the wards. The ANC won many wards in Tshwane, but they're not going to vote for the PR councillor. They punished themselves. And they are regretting now that, hey, we made a mistake. It was not Zuma. So the people who are saying Zuma is a problem in the ANC, it is because they want to divide the ANC. And once you hit the head, you are going to get into the body. And you are going to divide the African National Congress. So we're not going to succumb to that propaganda.
So the Guptas, or is it current affairs, as was said earlier this week? Are we not discussing that? Was it not discussed?
It was discussed, the issue of the Guptas, but the conference said we can't discuss one family here at the policy conference. There are so many people who are engaged in scrupulous businesses here in South Africa.
I totally agree with you. We shouldn't be selective in our outrage. Yeah. However, do you agree that they are a problem?
In South Africa, we've got a problem of hating other people when we're against their views. We are saying as MKMVA, we're against corruption. We don't support corruption. Anyone who wants to do business in South Africa must do it correctly. And if the Guptas are doing business in a wrong way in South Africa, it is our right as ANC members to correct them. They were called, remember, by the officials of the ANC to come and explain their behavior. And they accepted that some of their members, they are behaving in a very ill-disciplined manner, and they will correct that. But you must remember that capitalism, wherever it is, you fight very strong against each other. So if you check the Johannesburg Stock Exchange here, 97% is still owned by the whites and is foreign also. 3% is owned by South Africans.
Whose fault is that? Who's been in charge?
That is why we're talking about radical economic transformation as the ANC, that we must radicalize our economy so that it must reflect the demographics of our country. If you don't do that, we'll still remain with that 97%. So it is upon our leadership that is involved in shareholding in other companies to put the interests of our people first rather than theirs. And there's no need for us to disagree that we are colonized. And we were not colonized by Africans. We were colonized by the whites. And the economy, it is still in the hands of the whites. Why should we really fight to say there's no white monopoly capital in the context of South Africa? So I don't understand why our people are fighting about that to an extent that you even change the reports of the commissions. It is wrong of ANC members. If you believe in democratic centralism, you persuade me. And if you win in the discussions, I will say, maybe I was wrong. And I must learn. I think Sakina is correct in this man. I am learning in that way. But for us to factionalize to an extent that you even go to the scores as if it's a rugby, to say this one is 11 against 9. But it's not correct.
Why should we trust you as we conclude? Why should we trust you? I mean, there are so many good resolutions that have been taken by the ANC over the years. Why should we believe that this time is a real deal?
When the president was closing, he said one of the things that he likes that we are saying we have been weak in monitoring and evaluation as the African National Congress. And bringing in the second deputy secretary, we are saying his or her work is to make sure that he monitors the implementation of the policies of the African National Congress and report to the NEC. And if they are not implemented, decision must be taken. It is true that for a long time, some of the policies that it's a repetition. of the policies that we have taken a long time ago. It is because of as the ANC, once we get into government, we do our own things. We don't implement the policy of the ANC. So this policy conference have said to us, enough is enough. We want now action. There must be monitoring, and that monitoring must have teeth to bite.
SK doesn't agree with you, actually.
No, I don't. Actually, I don't.
Okay.
Because it doesn't matter how many policies you come up with. What happened to the monitoring and evaluation department? What happened to the service level agreements that were entered into with ministers? You can keep piling on, but for as long as you're not doing the job, coming back to what I said earlier, you can talk great policies, but it's your actions that determine where you go at the end.
And on that note,
I agree
we have
with
come
you.
to an end.
Thank you.
But that was question time for today, and radio came together with TV. SK, those of you just listen to her all the time. This is SK, and that was question time. Aybe Khoto.